Mr. Kitak Lim, Distinguished Secretary General of the International Maritime Organization, Ms. Aike Dagim, distinguished representatives of IMO member states, again, my dear brother, Mr. William Azu, dear colleagues, excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, the United Nations Office of the Special Advisor on Africa, UNOSA, would like to express its gratitude to IMO for inviting the office to this important series of regional webinar to discuss the challenges faced by seafarers and identification of best practices during the COVID-19 pandemic. With the surge in both developed and developing countries of cases and deaths related to the pandemic, this event is very relevant and timely, given efforts made by frontliners fighting against the COVID-19 pandemic, maintaining essential supply chains to support our everyday lives, in particular the 2 million seafarers on the world's merchant fleet. With alarming worldwide exponential increase of the death toll and the need to keep trade flowing freely across borders, especially at this crucial time, seafarers assure continuous supplies of essential commodities such as food, vital medical supply, energy, and other basic goods. As a sister organization, UNOSA has had a long-standing working relationship with IMO on matters relating to the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic. This participation here is nothing but the continuation of such synergy. As you may know, UNOSA is based at the UN headquarters in New York and mandated to, one, enhance international support for Africa's peace, security, and sustainable development through its global advocacy. Two, to support the Secretary General in improving coherence and coordination of the UN system support to Africa through convening the Interdepartmental Task Force on African Affairs, known by IDTFAA. And three, to promote greater accountability of Africa's development through the UN monitoring mechanisms on commitments. In view of the need to effectively addressing the negative impact of the COVID-19 pandemic through reinforcing UN support to Africa in a coherent and coordinated manner, UN also has convened 5 meetings of the IDTFAA at technical, ASG directors and principal levels since April 2020. In this respect, OSA expressed its appreciation to IMO for its active, very active actually, participation and invaluable contribution to the above-mentioned process. It is known that African countries have been demonstrating strong resilience against the COVID-19 pandemic. As of the 19 October 2020, there are 1,646,253 confirmed coronavirus cases in Africa, with 1,354,438 recovered cases and 39,747 recorded deaths, making case recovery rate of approximately 82% and fatality rate of approximately 2%. However, the COVID-19 does not only entail health and humanitarian crisis, but also has a significant negative impact on the continent's socioeconomic development in the medium to long term. At the Task Force on Africa Affairs principal level meeting chaired by the United Nations Secretary General Guterres in August 2020, members endorsed the use of the Africa UN Regional Knowledge Hub on COVID-19, hosted by the UN Economic Commission for Africa, to facilitate analysis and sharing of information and knowledge among UN, African Union entities, African member states, development partners, and beyond on COVID-19. In this respect, OSA is pleased to share the link to the Knowledge Hub, which may be useful for all participants of today's webinar, in particular policymakers at regional and national level. I will share the link through the chat function on Zoom. The Knowledge Hub on the COVID-19 contains the web pages on facts, country data, impacts, country responses, UN and partner activities and ongoing research, etc., with features, stories, and blogs. The hub provides reliable information, including data to fight against misinformation and promote science-based communications, discussions, and solutions. On the Knowledge Hub, there are many knowledge products prepared by UN entities such as FAO, UN ECA, UN Women, just to name a few. This to address negative impact of the COVID-19 pandemic, the Secretary General's policy brief on the impact of COVID-19 in Africa, prepared by OSA, in close collaboration with UNDP, ECA, DPPA, can also be found on the Knowledge Hub. The policy brief provided practical policy recommendations on health, economic issues, food security, education, peace and security governance, human rights, and humanitarian impact in Africa. Again, we would like to encourage policymakers in Africa and key regional institutions to visit the hub, as it contains valuable information which they can leverage for policy formulation. In the area of food security in particular, it would be important to designate the agriculture sector as an essential economic activity that must continue regardless of pandemic-related emergency restrictions, and establish and protect food supply corridors for collection, transport, and distribution to markets. Seafarers are critical to protect these supply corridors of essential goods and should be designated as key workers, Never too much to emphasize this aspect. Facing the coronavirus pandemic, seafarers are experiencing severe challenges such as, it was already mentioned here, medical care, the issue of crew change, as well as the repatriations at the end of the seafarers' contract. It is estimated that some 400,000 seafarers remain on board of commercial vessels, unable to be repatriated and past the expiry of their contracts. In this respect, on the commemoration of the World Maritime Day in September, the Secretary General, Antonio Guterres, renewed his appeal to governments to address the difficulty by formally designating seafarers again as key workers, ensuring safe crew changes and implementing the relevant international protocols. For us, UNOSA, most respectfully, we would like to draw the attention of the governments in Africa of the importance to adopt the protocols on the crew change, which had been developed by IMO, including the advisories as contained in the IMO Maritime Safety Committee's Resolution 473, as it was already previously mentioned by colleagues. We just wanted to amplify and stress this point. And to finalize, two more paragraphs, I would say that while maritime transport occupies more than 80% of world trade and thus needs to continuously operate to maintain global supply chains, we need to make sure that no one should be left behind in inhuman working circumstances. In this respect, UNOSA commends African governments which have taken effective measures to address issues faced by seafarers, including Djibouti, South Africa, that open up borders for the return of seafarers for crew change, as well as Ghana, Kenya, South Africa, and others that already designate seafarers as key workers. UN also commends outstanding work of IMO, led by able Mr. Kitak Lim, the Secretary General, which guides us to protect seafarers and safety of maritime transport, and UN also is ready and willing to work with IMO, I would say to continue to work with IMO and provide support as may be relevant in these regards. Today's regional webinar, through exchanging views, sharing best practices and reinforcing partnerships among African governments, especially health and border control authorities, industry organizations, as well as international regional institutions, could generate innovative solutions to address challenges and mitigate humanitarian crises faced by seafarers. I look forward to our discussion today. And again, to finalize, I would like to thank you for the opportunity and thank you very much for your kind attention. Thank you.